All right, let's get this shit show rolling. I'm not too good at doing ones like this. I'm gonna have to talk a little bit on the front end. I try to keep this shit as like on topic as much as possible. Not really like so when Jake and I do Blacktooth, that's like one thing. We usually just kind of like bullshit, and what I can use, I use. Like it is pretty much just like a straight up conversation, but they're usually about like an hour and a half, 2 hours long, and I like whittle it down to about like an hour, hour and 15 to just keep it kind of like concise and on topic. And also like we say shit that like I have to edit out. It's like just not for the general public. Like I don't think I need like a Patreon or anything, but like I definitely just like will not feel comfortable releasing half the shit we talk about. It's not like anything like, bad. It's just we try to make each other laugh, and by doing so we say fucked up shit. And like sometimes it's like inside jokes, or it's like shit that's like a little too close to home for like one of us, and it's like I can't like be doing that. So like I don't know. With that one, it's like easy. With this, I have a subject and I try to stick to it. And like so, I usually get off topic anyway. Like I ramble, but it like kind of I'm getting better at coming full circle. So what I'm trying to do here, I have to explain something because I want to just be completely like yeah. I want everybody to know that this is not me. This is software, and this is just the current state of the world and how YouTube works and how the kind of the way shit is. So on episode, I want to say it was 28, Hot Girls Wanted. I actually got a comment from somebody I don't know, and I believe the name is something like Maria Patel, and it's just a Chinese spam bot, and I was like so confused why my like that fucking video got like 8 views, and like they're all like international views, and like I kind of pieced it together. It's like, oh yeah, like I post a video called Hot Girls Want It. There's probably like some like data mining algorithm on YouTube where when those like words or like a combination of those words come up, there's like some kind of like auto trigger to like just for like a bot to like post something, because it's like, oh, like you see them everywhere, pop-ups for like live sex chat and shit like that, but it's like always like kind of relevant to that search. So what I think happened was somewhere some like Indian data mining company or some fucking like algo company got a hold of my dumb fucking video, and all of a sudden it's getting pumped for views even though I'm that's not like it's so stupid that it's like it's funny to me. And I don't know, like I just am like I'm smitten on like that my YouTube channel is growing enough where I actually have a little bit of attention from even fucking AI. And yeah, I don't know, it feels cool. It's one of those weird things. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way out front. I got a good one today. I need this. I had a really long fucking day at work, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't like bitching about work, but yeah, if you're gonna go like right now, especially if you're going out to eat, everybody's fucking exhausted, man. Like there's places that are just losing help. They're just hemorrhaging fucking people, and it's because like no matter how much you pay them, the fucking workload is so overwhelming, and then the fucking the clientele has just been nothing but shitty. Like it's a general consensus from everybody I know in the service industry right now that is like, hey, all that shit about us being essential and all that shit that was like supposed to be like hurrah hurrah, like you guys are still showing up to work and doing the Lord's, like keeping things moving. All that fucking mentality went out the window as soon as everybody was like, yeah, June came around, and like they opened everything the fuck up. Goddamn, like the attitudes have been nothing short of shitty. People are just super mean. Like I have no desire to go in and do my fucking job right now, but like I have to, You got someone got to pay the bills around here. It's gonna not this podcast. I don't think, at least, but yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So yeah, like I don't know, it's just fucking chaotic, and I kind of needed a hop. Like I went for a nice walk and took a nice hot shower, making myself some pizza to enjoy while I watch my movie. But yeah, I'm gonna like it's been a hard one. I'm happy that I at least have this little fucking outlet to do this shit. So I appreciate if anybody that's not a bot listening. Jake, probably you. I don't know, maybe Lee or Siemens, one of you two. Thank you. Give yourself a nice round of applause. Yeah, that's for you. That's for you. That's for the fellas. You know, it's a little bit of a difficult situation. All right, that already one of those. Hey, that well deserved. But you know, anyway, yeah. Today I'm watching a good one. I'm watching one that I really wanted to watch. I haven't seen it in about like 3 years, but I bought it on Blu-ray, and I watched it the day I got it, and I haven't thought about it in a while. But like, I guess with the current state of the world and having a fucking brain dead president, that's superseding. Yeah, I think that's the word, right? No, didn't precede. Preceded would have been Trump. Trump preceded Biden. But anyway, yeah, it was a dum dum followed by a brain dead dum dum. At least the economy was all right, but whatever. I see all this shit going on in China, and I kind of understand, like, just from my family and why my family lives in this country. Why communism is kind of bad and why it's like not as good as everything's cracked up to be. I don't believe that like I give him a little credit that maybe shit gets done. Like I see Bald and Bankrupt on YouTube and how like things seem to work better in some of the Soviet countries that when like the fall of the Soviet Union happened, they kind of collapsed back into themselves because they had no recourse due to like all the Soviet investments being pulled out, and they just panic sold everything, and now their countries are like destitute. I kind of get that, like them not necessarily being fans of capitalism and thinking communism was better, but like it's a shitty situation that you live in, and like move maybe. That sucks, but like you got to do something. Can't be doing that. But like you can't blame communism or capitalism for that. It was just like you were in the wrong place at the wrong fucking time. Like you got to be nomadic. Always never keep your back against the wall too long. Like just keep an eye on your surroundings and shit. But yeah, like this was the movie I'm watching today is Red Dawn, the OG one, the Patrick Swayze one. Because it's really good, and it's like the current state of the world is pretty fucking chaotic, and I think that like this, I don't think it would happen this way. We're never gonna go to World War III, at least like not in the conventional sense. The U.S. might implode, and it might fall into like a small civil war and some isolated skirmishes, but like I don't think it's ever gonna plunge into this shit. At least not on this scale. I think it's gonna be like a bunch of proxy wars followed by like a bunch of like data wars, and like people are gonna end up stealing each other's bitcoins or whatever cryptocurrency, and countries are gonna go bankrupt, and like shit like that's gonna happen, and it's part and parcel, to what kind of Western civilization is right now. But yeah, this was like a nice little snapshot of like 1984, like the red paranoia, and I've always found this film very like fascinating, principally on like not just like the way it presents the story, but it does have like I've seen a lot of documentaries from the time, and it has always struck me as like kind of this thing where it's not a documentary, but it's trying to come off as one, like almost like a forensic recreation a la like Errol Morris or something. It's not necessarily like it doesn't try to give it off. Like I know there's like the name's escaping me. There's some YouTube video I saw of a film that was on like the BBC back in the 80s that was like about like what would happen during a nuclear fallout, like the aftermath of a nuclear bomb going off. And it's like far more trying to be like what would like appear to be like a documentary as opposed to like a narrative. It's got some narrative structure. There's a little bit of like dramatization in it that gives it like that push over the edge of being like not as grounded as it needs to be, but it's a very good film, and it's a very effective film too. And I use the word effective very like I wanted to load up on effective, because ultimately a lot of movies that are made, especially ones that glorify violence, are made for propagandistic purposes. The army will greatly subsidize the film shoot if they in one way or another portray the army as like either a force of good or like a force of like necessity, and they've done that for a lot of movies. Not all of them, obviously. Like Saving Private Ryan, it's like that was kind of like specific. They helped, but like it is what it is. It just so I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to do a little research after I watch this and see if the government subsidized any of this to I'm sure they did, because it's like the height of fucking the whatever Reagan Star Wars shit. But yeah, I've always been fond of it. I love the acting in this movie, and it's like one of those like slice of 80s kind of films that's not like too on the nose. It kind of just does its own thing, but it definitely is its own like it's like its own encapsulation of the moment. So without further ado, we're gonna watch the 1980s Red Dawn. Fucking A, right. I love Red Dawn. That movie is fucking good. I forgot how good it was. I need to stop being so lethargic with when it comes to like watching actually good movies. Like it's very cheesy and it's very patriotic. I forgot how patriotic it is, especially right now when everything is like we're in the middle of the Olympics right now. And there's like a debate over whether or not standing for the American flag at the Olympics is like ethical. It's just the Olympics. Put your fucking politics aside, god damn it, and fucking stand. Like it's your country. Love it or hate it, like you're representing your country. Fucking do something about it. Fucking A. But yeah, I love that the fucking like this film was like super patriotic, and I think that's fun. I also think in the context of the film, it was like something that was extremely necessary because they probably needed to make it that way so they could get away with doing all the shit that they did. Yeah, you can't exactly like contextualize like guerrilla warfare domestically as like good unless there's like a heavy air of like patriotism mixed with commie ass kicking. I like that about it though. It's got this like 80s charm where it's like, yeah, we're not, it's not as gory as like most 80s movies are. But it was like it's a fairly violent movie. It's a fairly like it's extremely psychologically like it messes with you because like I guess like for one reason it was like this was like an actual looming thing in the 80s. Like it was very much a part of like things that you took into consideration on like a like from time to time. I wouldn't say on a daily basis. I mean, sure, it was drilled into you if you were in school or like in the military at the time, but like I don't think I think it was one of those fleeting things. You hear about it on the news once in a while. It's like, oh yeah, that's a thing to worry about, and it doesn't seem like very much fun. But this kind of, even though it is like a lot of fun as an action and adventure movie, it does have a lot of very very heavy-handed overtones about the futility of futility. Fucking words up. It's like the first thing in the morning. I fell asleep halfway through it, but I've seen this movie so many times. I woke up and watched the second half, and it still delivers. Like I love this movie. I would never fucking give up on this movie. But the I like the message being like, yeah, communism stinks, America rules. But if you try and do it on our turf, we're gonna take we're gonna dig deep into the archives of American history, and like everybody's gonna cling to so I guess Patrick Swayze's character like identifies with not Theodore, is it Theodore Roosevelt? Is that who the beginning part is with the Rough Riders? I'm pretty sure it's him. But then someone else, like I guess he's like an outdoorsy guy, so he's got these like personas that he takes on in the way that his character evolves. He's the only one that really like him and C. Thomas Howell's character, like the only two that really like go through a character arc. Charlie Sheen's pretty static. I was gonna say this at the beginning. I completely forgot about it, but I was here. This is gonna be a tangent, but motherfucking, I've been doing this voice for my boss at work because it makes her laugh, and I don't know why it like she couldn't put her finger on what it was. But it's like when people order like lobster, I kind of go like this, like, and she's like, I can't put my finger on what that is. Like, just keep talking like that. And eventually, one of my other coworkers pointed out, he's like, oh yeah, that's like Ferris Bueller's friend Cameron on the phone when he's talking to the principal. And I was like, oh yeah, man, pardon my French, but you're an asshole. That fucking that voice rules. But just so that's been like at the front of my mind this week for like the last like 3 or 4 days. And go figure, Ferris Bueller's sister, what's her name? Something Gray, I think. Yeah, she's in this, and it was pretty good. She gets shot by a helicopter, which is pretty fun, Yeah, this movie is very 80s as well. Like you also got to take like all the heavy-handedness with a very big grain of salt and be like, yeah, this was an action adventure movie that they needed like the backdrop of an American like western town, like Colorado. I guess they're supposed to be up in like Leadville or like somewhere out there. you know, because I lived at Copper. Like, I know the Arapahoe Basin. Like, they're pretty far up there in the mountains, but like, it's not Denver. It's not anywhere near. Uh, it's not anywhere near like you know, the metropolitan areas. It's like the highlands, probably south or north of Denver. Like, probably south. One sec, I need some brain juice. I'm fucking fade. That's 5 minutes in. I'm already fading on this. I just woke up. I have to fucking go to work in a little bit, so I want to make sure I knock this out today. But anyway, yeah, back to fucking Red Dawn. Like, yeah, they're like out in the middle of nowhere, and I think the reason they could get away with doing that was like they did have the plan for like the fighter jet battle and like the tank battle, and I think that's like very smart. That's a very like pragmatic use of the area that you choose to shoot in. I like the kind of militaristic aspect too, like the strategy of it. Like, you know, oh yeah, like we're gonna deploy all these airborne troops into the Midwest and West and like mountain areas, and they're gonna create a path so all these like people from Latin American communist countries can come up, and that's you know, pretty fucking I don't know why that sounded weird. I'm fucking very tired and very loopy. I hope this is making sense. I just like that. I think that aspect of it was fucking it was very good. The yeah, like the you know, like every time I see this too, I'm not sure. Like I said in the beginning, I said up front that this kind of has this like documentary feel to it. I I don't think it has a documentary feel. I'm not gonna rescind that. I still think it does. It kind of looks like not like a documentary, but like more like a. You're supposed to be a fly on the wall for all of these events going on, but because you're seeing both sides of the coin, like you're seeing both, you know, the American school kids and Swayze doing what they're doing and kind of like succumbing to this like isolation, you know, and you know, sadness that their way of life is being trounced upon. But then you also have like the commies who are like, you got this Cuban guy who's, you know, like he complains constantly about how at one point he was a revolutionary and now he's like at the top of the food chain while he's dealing with his revolutionaries. And it's like, that must be incredibly frustrating if you don't like have a you know, concise, clear cause to kind of be working towards. And I like that because that character grows, and then the other ones are just fodder to eventually get shot or blown up, which is fucking awesome. Like I like that. I like the balance of it. I like the balance of like how both of them deal with their problems with like insubordination too, which ultimately is just, yeah, if somebody fucks up, you shoot them. But then like the fucking Russian guy comes in and he's like, yeah, you can't like if you're a wolf picks off your chicken, you're not gonna go and, you know, kill your pig. Like, you go get the wolf, dumbass. But it does make for this sense of it definitely sets the tone. Like, there's not one point in this movie where anything is unmotivated by anything. Like, even though, one sec, even though the fucking invasion does kind of just like spring up, and like the call to action is maybe like 5 minutes into this movie, if that, like maybe 4. I think it's just Swayze drops his brother off at school, and then like all of a sudden they're talking about fucking, I don't know, whatever, his social studies, history, whatever the fuck it was. And then they notice people are landing in a field with parachutes, and that's literally it. The shooting starts there. It's fucking great. You don't need much. Like it's all pretty well like explained and very like it moves, it motivates in a way where you kind of like, you're satisfied with each step of the way, like how it goes through these like pits, you know, fuck, damn it, god damn it, I'm doing really good this morning. Yeah, it goes through peaks and valleys of like emotional distress and like, you know, aggression. They have to like deal with when they find the Air Force pilot, the guy that gets shot down. That's like a weird one because like, you know, they really, at first it's very uneasy. I forgot like how like even though it's like same side, they're so paranoid of like the commies, you know, infiltrating them somehow. Like it's very like, you know, it's very astute for kids, but like I would understand that paranoia of like, you know, who really is trustworthy right now, and it gets that point across very well. I just really enjoyed this movie. Like, I needed to watch something that I liked. Oh, yeah. Another thing too. When you have like an ensemble cast, this is one of those examples of like an ensemble cast that like they are all used to their like ability. It's not just an ensemble cast for the sake of cramming as many fucking celebrities into a film as you can. Like they seem to be what the fuck? I saw one on Facebook the other day. Someone it's like another one of these cape shit movies, but it's like just I saw everybody that was in it and it's like come the fuck on. You guys are just like playing off that like people will pay to see someone's name. Like they're not even that like noteworthy of an actor. It's just you'll like it's somebody that like you should probably like be like, okay, I've seen something that they're in. Oh, but now they're in a Marvel movie. Okay, cool. Like that's not the point of an ensemble cast. It's like you have like a lot of like people that are supposed to be like used to the best of their abilities, but also give them the ability to play off of other very well trained, talented actors. That's the point of adequate casting. You're not just like cramming as many people into a movie as you can just for the novelty of it. Like for some fucking reason, Bill Murray gets shoehorned into everything. Like he's just in everything. Like not even at fucking Zombieland is my favorite example of it because at least he's like funny in that. But yeah, like they just like he just pops up and shit, and I think it's just because it's like, oh yeah, now we can call it an ensemble cast. Like, fuck off. This is a good example of that. I like it because it was all young actors in the 80s, for the most part. Like people that were like, it's 1984, so they were all pretty well known. This was like for most of them, save like Charlie Sheen, the bulk of their acting career was like done maybe within 6 years in either direction of this film being made. And like you got Swayze, you got C. Thomas Howell, you got Charlie Sheen, fucking chick from Ferris Bueller, and then my favorite is Harry Dean Stanton. He's in this film, and then there's like a handful of other people that you see in like one or two other things in the 80s, and then they just poof disappear. I love it. But the reason they're all like really good is that they're not like particularly rugged people. Like you could see Swayze in Dirty Dancing or like Charlie Sheen in like some of his cleaner cut roles. Like not like outright clean cut, but like he's like a kind of like he's a pretty handsome dude for being like a rugged person. But like for this, like all the people they used for this role, it's like they're not trying to ham it up. Like when they did the remake of this in 2012, I was so confused why they chose such like pretty people to be like they're not supposed to be just like they're supposed to be like school kids. Like they're not supposed to be like well toned, well adjusted. Like I don't know, they just don't look like fucking kids to me. And I had such a big problem with that from the fucking start. That movie's also garbage. Never fucking watch it. It's so bad. If you want a real good, the OG, go directly to the source. Get the fucking OG Red Dawn from 1984. It's fucking great. But yeah, like it just they were very good and very like I don't know. I like the casting in this. They all do a great job. For kids, they get it across pretty fucking well. Like they do a good job of like playing naivety, but also like competence. Like they're people that like they have to like work as a team, and it's like who better to do teamwork at like kind of like a point of duress than like people that are going to school together and like actively on teams and like kind of know how to like they spend a lot of time with each other. It's like kind of like coworkers, like like how to get under your coworker's skin, but at the same time, if you and your coworkers work well together, then that's like what makes more money ultimately. So yeah, like I kind of like that because it's not necessarily meta. I think they were just doing it because it's like they knew it would put asses in seats. It was the 80s. But I like it. I think it's like one of those things that it can go a little bit deeper than just like oh well he's nice. I like him using that like that other movie. Like no, it's very deliberate. But we go a little further than that. I like shit like that. Without just like pointing out things I do like, there are like one or two things that you can kind of get away with making fun about this movie. Like I would say overall this movie's 9 out of 10, and like there's two maybe three things that I don't like. But they're very minor nitpicks. I like I enjoy that there's multiple communist forces, but I don't like how they chose like Cuba because it feels like they're kind of taking a pot shot at Cuba. And I understand during the 80s there's like an influx of like Cuban refugees and there's like a lot of shit going on, right? Like, you know, in that moment in time for Cuba, but like it kind of just seems like you're kicking the guy while he's down. Yeah, they're, like, you know, it's supposed to be like communist dogs, like we're not supposed to respect them. And you just kind of like poke fun at the disenfranchised, and that's like, don't do that, don't do that. But like, they're supposed to be the tour of tour de force in this one, so it is what it is. I don't mind it. I just was like, like upon this viewing, I was like, oh, you know, like this is when Scarface is going on, like that whole thing's happening. Yeah, so maybe not the ideal time to do it, but the other thing, I like that they have like the tank battle. I do enjoy that they kind of have to like give what's his name, Swayze's character context, because I do like now that I'm 30, I've been watching this movie since I was like maybe like 15. I really do like this movie. I've seen it so many fucking times that like I think I've seen it pretty much on average like once a year, if not more, since I was 15. So I've arguably seen this like 15 times now, you know, somewhere in the ballpark of that. But I've never really like recognized kind of fuck, where was I going with that? I was gonna talk about the battlefield thing. I've never really recognized like how like psychologically torn, like it was always cool like that, you know, it's like, oh yeah, like kids my age, I identify with this, like guns, like interesting revolutionary ideas, like let's like rejecting fucking ideas like with bombs, like that's interesting, you know. But I've like, you know, now it's like I kind of understand that like this is something that's very visceral. This is something that's very real. It's dramatized and it's hammed up, but like, yeah, like right now there's like a lot of radicalized people in this country, and I don't think that it's gonna start going like, you know, that far, but it might, like, you know, it might. If I think like what I'm trying to say here is like the tank battle part was like fine, and I liked the way that they kind of like played out, because you God damn it. I hope you guys enjoy that. Like, I hope eating and drinking on mic is like something you guys don't mind, because I'm gonna do this the whole fucking time. But yeah, I think like they could have done without like the tank battle, like trying to be like. It just kind of seemed like there was no disconnected points other than that part of the movie, but like it's a pivotal part of the movie, so I understand why it's there. I'm not like knocking it. I just think that like it could have just been like some minor like skirmish, kind of similar to the way it was in the beginning. It didn't have to be like it's like this is a battlefield, like, you know, this is what the real thing is, like, as opposed to like what you're doing, kid. Like that, it just is like that whole scene in general is just kind of jarring and doesn't really make much sense to me. In the context of the film, like they like it's kind of like a protege situation at that point in the film between Swayze and the fighter pilot, and yeah, like it just kind of seems weird that he's gonna like point out like, oh yeah, like this is why, like this is something you'll never be able to do, essentially. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're like trying to keep him in line, or like. I don't know. But yeah, you know, all things considered, this is one of those movies I don't think we get like even remade today, just because of like how everybody's dick riding communism and like, oh, you have new ideas. Like, yeah, fuck that. Just watch it. If you enjoy like a really good kind of like, I wouldn't call it mindless, because you do have a little bit of thinking that you have to do. It does give you some moral dilemmas in there. And I like I just like the way that the whole thing is kind of like neatly done 90-minute package of just, you know, intermittent action with some, you know, some light drama. And, you know, it does a really good job of like, you know, making you feel for like sorry for like a fictional war. But, you know, the potential of that being there is kind of why it's so real. And yeah, I think it does that very effectively. So thank you for listening. Please go watch Red Dawn. I got some more shit to come. Hopefully no more fucking Indian telemarketer scammers get a hold of my fucking YouTube shit. But, you know, I appreciate the views. So good night and go fuck yourself.